Well, welcome back to another edition of Narrow Gate Voice. Glad to have you along. And I have my buddy Eric back again. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good
All
to
right.
see you again.
Celebrated another trip around the sun here a couple of weeks ago.
I did.
Congratulations for that. We're going to be.
540.
Well, you're getting on up there. You still got a few hundred years to catch up with Methuselah, but you're working on it. So, the last time when we left, we were in Genesis chapter 3. So today we're going to continue into Genesis chapter 4. And what version of the Holy Word are you going to be using, Eric?
I could switch it up. I have several different versions to choose from, but I'm
Yeah.
still New Living Translation.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to be in the Christian Workers Holy Bible, copyright 1905. And so this is going to be like this really hard English to understand because, again, that was written over, or this translation was published over 100 years ago. And, of course, since that time, they've discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there's been
Right.
a lot of changes, not changes, but a lot of words changed so that it would be easier to understand. So you got a great version to offset this archaic version. And so we're going to dig right in, and we are going to do again Genesis chapter 4. We're going to do most of it, we're going to do the meat of it together, and then we'll talk about a few other things and wrap this thing up. So we start off with Genesis chapter 4, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Okay, so the thing about this edition of Narrow Gate Voice is the headline: Sex, Jealousy, Murder. All in this chapter 4 here of Narrow Gate Voice. So that's what we're going to get into. And if we start off with verse 1 saying that Adam knew Eve. And so that word knew is, of course, an intimate word. It means they came together and they had sex. And so I think it's interesting when you look at the word knew, and you look at in the Hebrew word for knew, it's the same as know. And we are to know God. So it's the same intimacy that we should have with God that Adam had with his wife Eve. What did your translation say? Anything different from that?
Says it a lot different. It says, now Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant.
Okay.
When she gave birth to Cain,
Yeah.
she said, with the Lord's help, I have produced a man.
Okay, laid it right out there in plain English. No, instead of the archaic stuff. Verse 2, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. What does yours say?
Says, later she gave birth to his brother and named him Abel. When they grew up, Abel became a shepherd, while Cain cultivated the ground.
And in
Song.
Okay, yeah, and in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering. All right, so let's stop there on verses 3 and 4. You read yours because I think yours will kind of clear up for anybody watching what's really going on here. Make it easier to understand.
It says when it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crop as a gift to the Lord. Abel also brought a gift, the best portions of the firstborn lambs from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel's and his gifts.
Okay, so I believe that the reason that the Lord did that was because it was the best. You use the word best in there.
Yes.
And, and maybe while Cain made an offering, it wasn't his best, right?
It was just some.
It was just
He
some.
offered some.
Some. Could have been rotting fruit of the vine. I don't. Who knows really for sure, but it
Right.
apparently wasn't the best. And I guess you could look at it from blood sacrifice part two. Are you asking? Are you raising your hand?
No.
No. Okay. I thought you wanted to speak, and you were not going to butt in. But so yeah. I think apparently I think that word "best" is what really kind of sets the tone and says all of what's going on, and
Right.
and really sets the tone for what happens
Later.
next. Yeah. But unto Cain and to his offering, he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. All right, so we need your help here, Eric, because there's lots of doths and other words in here that we don't use like on a daily basis. So tell us what your translation says there.
He says, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. So he didn't accept either one, Cain or his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. And God said, why are you so angry? The Lord asked. Why do you look so dejected? How many times, your father shake his finger at you and you bow your head and you're like, stomp away. So you will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master.
Wow. Oh, wow. That verse there, verse 7 there. Wow. So here we've got somebody that's not necessarily, really, definitely not committing the first sin, but has that desire. You go over into the New Testament, Jesus, talks about Satan, at one point he says he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And we know about the lying in the Garden of Eden, but the murder part, it didn't happen until this chapter right here, right? And so I read that again out of your translation because I love that what it says here, God is saying here on about how we should master our emotions, right? Or go ahead and read that again. I don't want to make up.
Right. He said, you will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Fair warning. Because sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. But you must subdue it and be its master.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right, we'll continue with verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. All right, read yours because there's a lot in that verse.
One day Cain suggested to his brother, let's go out into the fields. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Afterwards, the Lord asked Cain, where is your brother? Where's Abel? He says, I don't know, Cain responded. Am I my brother's guardian?
Yep. And mine says, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So very, very similar, despite both of these translations being about 100 years apart. Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? God already knew, right? What hast, because he's going to lay it out here in just a second. He goes, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. The blood was spilt when he murdered his brother. I remember on a Dixie cup about 50 years ago, they used to put these little jokes on there. Yeah. And I remember reading one that said, why did Cain kill his brother? Because he was able. Did you bring? That was a Dixie cup. Now, I don't know what year it was, but it was a long time ago. I was little. But anyway, yeah. So is that really? What do you think? Let's just go with what you think. Is that what happens today? Is that what? Is that what? I mean, when somebody spills innocent blood, I mean, God knows, right? But he uses that term, crying out to me from the ground. I mean, how graphic and I don't know about unnerving. I mean, that's solid. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And the only difference I have here is what the Lord said, what have you done? Big question mark.
Yeah.
Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground.
Wow.
Now you are cursed and banished from the ground, which has swallowed your brother's blood.
Yep. And mine says, and now thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. So mine's a little different there, but it really means the same.
A little more graphic.
Yeah. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. We're going to stop it right there. I find that interesting because Cain committed murder, and so it really wasn't, an eye for an eye at that point or anything like that. There was a punishment involved. That's going to be a lot harder to do the job that you've been commanded to do, but at the same time, you're going to be a vagabond. I mean, but yet here's Cain, who committed the murder, saying, "Oh, it's more than I can handle." Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Let's go back to verse 7.
Yep.
You're supposed to be aware. Sin is crouching at the door all the time, and even today, how many times are we unaware of the sin that's around us or knocking at our door, and then we wonder why we have a punishment.
Right. We cry out, oh Lord, it's more than I can bear. Oh, because it was crouching at the door. I didn't have to open the door.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I could have looked through that little Ring doorbell thing and not opened the door.
Right.
But instead, verse 14. Okay, go ahead. You got something? You go ahead and read verse 14.
Okay. You have banished me from the land and from your presence. So we're still talking about being in the garden, the great place. And now we're talking about the first eviction from God's place.
Well, that was Genesis chapter 3 when Mom and Daddy got evicted. Right. But now, for wherever it is, because I got kicked out of Garden of Eden, and now wherever it is they've set up camp, so to speak. Yeah, you're right. He's being banished from that area, from the family.
Right. So anyone who finds me will kill me. So which speaks to we are starting to populate at this time. Yeah,
I mean, certainly Eve makes reference to the two boys, mm-hmm. But I mean, there's a lot of other children. I don't know that was her first and second born, or if that was first and 14th. I mean, Let's just, she was a baby making machine and put out, had to populate the earth, right? Be fruitful and multiply. And so we don't really know. I don't think we really know. And then the Lord said, so he was worried about getting murdered by somebody for what he had done, or by, we'd be kinfolk. We don't really talk about that very much. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Read yours to me on that verse 15.
That's almost verbatim. The Lord replied, okay. No, for I will give a sevenfold punishment to anyone who kills you. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to warn anyone who might try to kill him.
Yeah, so, there's been a lot of speculation over the years about what that mark was, what that meant. And I don't think anybody really knows for sure if you look at the text. It might have just said, warning, don't kill this man, or I'm going to be mad, and he signed it, Yahweh. I don't know. I mean, you know, we don't really know. I mean, I've heard, oh, it was like a birthmark, or it was changed his color to a different color. I think all that's just crazy speculation, about as crazy as the speculation that I was doing there. So,
And
you know,
and pertaining to the text, I mean, does the mark really matter?
nah, it doesn't matter. Everybody knew, don't be messing with this dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Cain went out from there, from the presence of the Lord. So he went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. So I don't know if they were on the west of Eden. I'm not really sure, but maybe they were just in Eden, and Eden was the area, and the Garden of Eden is what they got cast out of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, that's speculation on my part. And Cain, then I'm not going to get into all this, but then and it says Cain knew his wife, so we have sex again, and she conceived and bore Enoch, and mine says builded, yeah. He builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. So these people were highly intelligent. Here's a city planner, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Cain's a city planner, basically. He planned out a city and built it, right? And you get, what did yours say? Yours say much different?
Not much different than Cain had sexual relations with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Then Cain founded a city, which is named Enoch after his son.
Yeah. Now, if you skip down, you get into all these different babies, and they had this and they had that, and these children and stuff. But in verse 20, it's kind of like a wake up thing here, because verse 20 talks about, one of the descendants being the father of ones who dwell in tents. So, your first campers, I guess. I mean, Abraham later on, is dwelling in tents and moving from place to place. But here is the first one, and this is before the city was developed. So they had housing. They lived, because you didn't see people, living in caves rather until later in Genesis before you see that. People living in caves, and that was really kind of to hide for the most part for cave dwellers. But I thought that was interesting. Anything else in that text, chapter 4, that stands out to you?
No.
I mean, there's
again, we get down to Adam,
yeah.
get down all the way down to Adam, and him and his wife and Seth. But one thing I did think about, what you said about living in tents. So let's go back to Cain's punishment. You're going to wander the earth. You're going to be homeless. So living in a tent, that's, drive around some of these cities, go to the back park areas or the creek beds, and look how many people are living in tents in the middle of winter. It's not because they got a place to live.
Right. But that was who was it? And Ada Bear Jabal, he was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. So his cattle, took care of the cows.
Yeah.
And you know a little bit about that yourself, don't you?
Once or twice.
So I've been reading from the Christian Workers Holy Bible, copyright 1905, the John C. Winston Company. And we've been looking at Genesis chapter 4. Yours was what? New Living Translation?
New Living Translation.
NLT version. Of course, you can download the YouVersion app and get that along with any kind of translation. And I know there's probably some other apps out there. Maybe we'll start reviewing apps in the future. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see. I was going to see if I can pull up a couple of things here this week that stood out to me. Let's see. First, a friend sent a link to the podcast. Let me see if I can get out of the way. That's Cooper stuff. Cooper stuff. And that is Mr. Cooper up there. It's episode 67. And you can find that on YouTube. And it is an episode dealing with the topic of deconstruction, and also discusses a little bit anyway, the Kevin Mack story that has been in the news lately. So anyway, there's Cooper stuff. And of course, he is lead singer of Skillet. You've heard of them, right?
No.
Now, here's one. Go ahead.
I almost got to go see him in Joplin. Almost. I got that.
Almost. Yeah, they're definitely a solid band. And I've seen some of his stuff before, but I thought that this Cooper stuff in particular, talking about deconstruction and Kevin Max, I thought it was exceptional. So shout out to Cooper stuff that you can find. Now, for the tweet of the week. Now, I'm not on Twitter, but
me neither.
Yeah, so I'm not on Twitter, but a friend of mine, Carrie, she posted a tweet on Instagram, right? I guess she shared it to Instagram. And so I wanted to pop this thing up here. It's a little bit in the background and tell you what it says. Pretty awesome. So my tweet of the week or tweet of the month, whatever, I don't know, says this. And this is by Good Shepherd 316. He's on Pinterest, on Twitter, maybe on Instagram. I'm not really sure. Probably on everything. But anyway, out of Illinois, this is what he said. He said, if Jesus Christ and Barabbas would be brought before the world today, not only would they let Barabbas go again, they'd build a statue to Barabbas. You don't even want to comment on that one, do you?
No. I do, but I don't know how many people I would make mad over that. I mean,
But that's kind of where we're at in a society, though, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I mean, to me, it's, I don't know. I don't know. When I saw that, Carrie, like I said, Carrie shared it, and I was kind of just spinning through IG there, and I saw that, and I was like, whoa. I mean, that's insightful, considering what's all in the news and so forth lately, and the culture wars and all that. I guess all that's for a different episode. But anyway, Genesis. Anyway, if Eric, you come across a great podcast or a tweet or something, save that and we'll share it on the next episode, right?
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
Genesis chapter 4. I mean, people say that people that don't know God's word would say stupid things like the Bible is boring. And here we go and get into Genesis chapter 4. We have sex, jealousy, murder, somebody on the run. I mean, it's all there,
right,
by Genesis chapter 4. We ain't even got into a lot of the really bloody, crazy murders that you see later on, or incest, or topic, or sister wives. People thought that was a new show that came out a few years ago, like they had come up with the idea. Anyway, that's in Genesis 2. Not Genesis chapter 2, but it's also in Genesis. We'll get to it eventually. It's going to be a lot of fun, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, so I got a question for the next time.
Okay. All right.
And maybe whoever watches, maybe they can send it in.
Yeah. Put your questions. Put your questions down in the in the question section here on YouTube. You can also please click like, subscribe, click share it with everybody. Share it with your mama tomorrow. Share it with your daddy. Share it with your cousins and your unsaved friends, your saved friends. Share.
Everybody.
Share it with everybody. ERRBODY. Everybody. Share it with everybody. Everybody. Okay. Now what
is the greatest commandment of all?
Thou shalt. Oh, am I supposed to answer that? No. Okay. That's somebody else.
Let them go.
Almost answered that. Okay. In the comments, you can answer that. The greatest commandment. The greatest commandment. Yeah, I like that. All right. I think that's a good idea. Again,
yep.
Share the video and be sure to click like and subscribe and all that stuff. And we'll keep coming back. We'll keep coming back.
Love you all.
Chapter 5. Love you. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Hang on just a second. See, I'm still trying to learn what I'm doing.
We're still going.
Yeah, I know I'm still going. I'm still trying to learn what to do. Oh, I know what it is. When the show closes, what are you supposed to do? Play the close. See ya.